What's up, guys? Today we're going to be comparing the Galaxy S21 FE to the Galaxy A34, and what's pretty cool is that these phones, they're both pretty good phones, but they do have some big differences. You can get the A34 brand new right now on Amazon for like $250, and the S21 FE you could pretty much find for like $227, but it'll be, used refurbished. But this one is used refurbished and it's in excellent condition, so I wouldn't really worry about that. But yeah, so you can get this brand new. So let's talk about the hardware, because I think it's kind of the first thing that stood out to me. The S21 FE is a plastic bag. It's got a matte finish, which it doesn't pick up fingerprints and stuff like that, but it has metal sides on it. So it's got the metal sides and it just feels a little bit more premium than the A34. The A34 is just all plastic, and you can definitely tell. Kind of feels like one of those dummy phones you pick up at like Walmart or something, or that's just test out. It's really light and just has a a plasticky feel. But the A34 I think looks really good. I really like this design that they went with, and it's pretty consistent with the S23 phone as far as the camera setup and stuff like that. You see they got rid of the camera cutout design here, but overall I do like the S21's FE's design a little bit more. It feels a little bit more premium, and you don't get the sort of like the smudges and stuff that you see right here on this phone as well too. And you also have a difference here as well with the IP certification. The S21 is IP68 and the A34 is IP67, dust and water resistant. Now there's also a big hardware difference that could be a make or break. The A34 does have SD card support, but the S21 FE does not, so no expandable storage on the S21 FE. Alright, so let's talk about the displays on both of these phones. The A34 has a 6.6 inch display, is Super AMOLED, 120 Hz, it's 1000 nits peak brightness, 1080p 390 for the PPI. The S21 FE has a 6.4 inch display, so you can see it's a slightly smaller display. It's the dynamic AMOLED display, 120 Hz HDR10+, 1080p 403 for the PPI. The screens, just looking at them, they pretty much look alike, but there is a difference when it comes to the overall bezels on here, and you also have just a punch hole on the S21 FE as opposed to sort of the outdated notch on the A34. And then like I said, you just have these slimmer bezels, as you guys can see. Yeah, so the S21 FE screen design, as far as like how it looks, it definitely looks better. But as far as like the screen quality, they pretty much look the same. But I would say that the S21, if I had to choose a screen to watch content on, I'm picking the one with the slimmer bezels and the punch hole, right? It just gives it a little bit more immersive experience. But as far as like the 120 Hz and colors and all that, it's here. They both pretty much look identical. All right, so let's talk about these specs a little bit more here. So you have the Snapdragon AAA processor on the S21 FE, and you also have 128 gigs of internal storage, 6 gigs of RAM. You have the Dimensity 1080 chip on the A34, and it also has 128 gigs and 6 gigs of RAM. As far as speed goes, you can see that the score is faster on the S21 FE, of course, since it's running a flagship, processor pretty much. But as far as like the overall feeling of both these phones, animation-wise, yeah, they feel pretty much the same. Even when we come to like launching applications, I'm sure the S21 FE will be a little bit faster. Yeah, as you can see, it's just like it's a hair faster maybe when it comes to speed, but as you guys can see, it's nothing too major, which is pretty impressive. I think the chipset on the A34 is actually kind of impressive, considering that it's a budget phone chip. But where you will see sort of like that difference is with probably gaming performance. But as far as like running the actual phone, it pretty much feels on par as far as notifications and stuff and smoothness. Alright, so here's the kind of the difference with gaming performance. So if you're a serious gamer, you're kind of by default going with the S21 FE. You have HDR Extreme on the S21 FE, and it's very smooth, and definitely across most games, Fortnite, Call of Duty Mobile, the latest powerful games whatever's in the Play Store, it'll do a really good job with it, and you'll be able to play at really good settings. Now, the gaming performance on the A34 is really not that bad at all, but you're not going to get the same settings as you can see HDR Ultra. So you're not going to get that, 60 frames at the, HDR. And yeah, so that's just something to take note of if you're a serious gamer. If you're a casual gamer, this phone is absolutely fine. It runs fine when it comes to stuff like even PUBG here. It's just not going to play at the best settings, but Subway Surfer, just casually gaming, it does a pretty good job actually. Both these phones have stereo speakers. Let's go ahead and max them out. Check out the A34. Yeah, the A34 actually sounds better. I wonder, do I have Dolby Atmos on this one? No, I don't. I don't have it on either of them. Yeah, the A34 definitely just has way more bass. It just sounds fuller. It just sounds better. Like I can hear all the bass. The S21FE, the S21FE is fine, but this definitely has a stronger speaker. Yeah, it kind of makes the S21FE sound a little flat. Alright, so both these phones also have an in-display fingerprint sensor as well, and that works fine. You can also use Face Unlock with both of these as well too, so no issues there. But also, what you'll notice software-wise is that since this is pretty much a flagship phone, the S21FE, you do have Samsung desktop support, and obviously you're not going to have that on a budget phone. So, I like Samsung desktop support. You may or may not care. I have a video like going over it. But that's something that, you're not going to have. And yeah, you pretty much have everything else except for that. I'm going to let you guys check out the side-by-side stills. I thought like this was probably the biggest difference with these two phones is the image quality. I think that's what really separates these two phones. So the A34 has a 48 megapixel standard, 8 megapixel ultra wide, 5 megapixel macro, no dedicated telephoto lens. It shoots in 4K 30, 13 megapixel selfie cam that also shoots in 4K 30. The S21 FE, it does have a 12 megapixel standard, a 8 megapixel telephoto that has 3 times optical, and then a 12 megapixel ultra wide. It shoots in 4K 60, and then a 32 megapixel selfie that also shoots in 4K 60. Check out the side-by-side stills and video and let me know what you guys thought. Alright, so there is a difference with the overall battery situation here. The S21 FE, it does have a 5,000 milliamp hour or not a 5,000, but it has a 4,500 milliamp hour battery, and then it has 25 watt wired charging, wireless and reverse wireless charging as well. So with the A34, this one has a 5,000 milliamp hour battery, so it does have a bigger battery, and then it also has 25 watt wired charging, but there's no wireless and no reverse wireless charging on the A34. You do get slightly better battery life on the A34 from what I'm seeing, so that is something that I like, but not being able to have wireless charging is kind of a bummer. But it really depends if you're, if you use wireless charging or not. But yeah, battery life is just slightly a little bit better, but both these phones actually do a really good job with battery life. All right, so what do you guys think, in total? Like, which phone would you guys go with, the A34 or the A34? And also, we can talk about software updates as well too. The S21 FE, even though it's an older phone, it will get updates, which is really nice. So let me know what you guys think.